So this is hemp-lime.
Right.
So this is like a block that you can build with. So this is like the chives and the lime and the water. So that is, I saw that you wrote also in the notes that you needed from the construction industry. So I would love to be that person.
Well, I'd love for you to introduce yourself or kind of tell me a little bit about your background. I'd like to get to know who you are and how you got into the industry.
Okay, thank you so much. So first of all, Mandi, I'm so grateful to be here on your show. It's amazing, and I love that, especially when women reach out and there is other women in the industry, it really inspires me. So I was so happy to be invited to your show, and that we are like almost, it felt like when I read the notes of your Global Hemp Association meeting, I felt like reading my own thoughts. So yeah, so great minds think alike. So who am I? I'm a construction engineer, and I'm a certified hemp-lime builder. I'm certified by l'École nationale du Chanvre, which is the French National Hemp Building School. I'm very proud to be trained by the French because they are like the world class. They've been building for 20, 30 years. And so, for example, the lime that they include in their courses, it's a lime that they have been doing R&D and proof of concept for 20 years. So that lime, together with certain kind of chives or herd, some American calls it herd and some call it chives.
Now, can you explain? I understand the difference, but can you explain what is a chive and what is herd, real quick?
Yeah. Okay. So I have here. I have my little showroom. Okay, so I have so much stuff here.
I love it.
Yeah. So, for example, this here, this is chives. And this here is the fiber. So, if you look at the plant, you have the stem, then the chives is, or the fiber is the outer core, and the chives, the wooden part, is the inside. It's the one that has the cellulose and the lignin. So it's an amazing plant to work with if we look at the applications, especially non-woven applications. Inspires me because we can create like plastic with the non-woven applications. Like this is a Swedish company called Triffelon. They make amazing hemp plastic, so that's very interesting. And then we have we can also create, this is a mixture. So this here is an application also from the chives. And this is very similar to insulation for the automotive industry that you can put in the doors, or you can put it in your board.
How is that made? Do you mind? I've never seen that. That's a piece of material I have not yet seen, and I know it's being made.
Yeah, so this is made by a Swedish professor. I'm currently busy doing a proof of concept around the fiber, if we should have a decorticator or not in Sweden. That's like what I focus my time and energy on, is to investigate if we should invest in a decorticator, because we don't have any decorticator. So we have an amazing researcher at the university here. So he has done this. Okay. And for you to be able to get like exactly how it's done, then we have to sign like NDAs and stuff.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, is it a press? Do you mind? Is it like I mean, because I know like lime, one thing that, and I wanted to ask you about, is the lime that's being used changes based on humidity in the air or the amount used changes, right? I would assume is something similar, or is it pretty consistent because of the where it's going?
Yeah, so this is not lime.
Right.
This is hemp lime.
Right.
So this is like a block that you can build this. So this is like the chives and the lime and the water. So that is, I saw that you wrote also in the notes that you needed from the construction industry. So I would love to be that person.
Okay,
So this is amazing. As you say, it's very good for the moist, for relative humidity, the thermal conductivity, which is better known as the lambda value. I don't know if in the States you talk more about the R value or the K value or the lambda value, but it has a great thermal conductivity. And then it also have a hygroscopic skill, if you may say it. So it's also the feeling, the experienced feeling, which is something that is coming up more and more within the construction industry. Like, how does it actually feel when you come into a house? If it's built with hemp or if it's built with
metal
or like timber, or it's another feeling, because certain materials like hemp lime, for example, they have a way of working with the room and the surrounding like energy, because it's a organic material. It's the same with wood. So the experienced feeling is better, is a higher, is a more comfort in comparison to if you live maybe in concrete house with plastic insulation. And I just want to say that for me, it's not about like talking bad about other materials or but this is just a great like hemp in general, and industrial applications that we can see is getting more and more popular on this planet. Should be seen more like a complement and expansion. So yeah, I don't think that the cotton industry or the plastic industry or the concrete industry should feel like hemp is, going to take over their industry, but more that, they can implement it too, because it's a great, hemp is a great collaboration material. So you can work hemp and cotton, so that the cotton industry could focus on the hemp industry just as well. Like, that's the way I see it, not the way it was from the beginning when hemp was made illegal, because then it was more like different kind of industries being afraid of the skills of the hemp. But as we now see that we need to step our game up, like in terms of climate, and every industry has to do that, like all the different kind of companies. So it's not, it's more like, I wish that the global industry on an overall like view would really take a look at this plant and see how can we collaborate, like how can we collaborate the Global Hemp Association and the Global Concrete Association, or the Global Plastic. That's
so
the way
when I first started this, that's the whole reason I started this, is there were a lot of associations competing for acres from our farmers, right? And there are a lot of companies within the Home Builders Association, within the Technology Association, or the medical, or batteries and graphing and cars and automotive, that maybe a few of their members need support in hemp, right? And so I want to be an organization that does just that, allows us to collaborate and it not be a threat. Someone asked me a long time ago, how do you bridge this gap? What's your plan to bridge the gap? And it's just that, coming at it from a perspective of, this is an added value that almost reverses the carbon footprint for plastic production if we change 25% or 30% of our plastic bottle. And that, we now offer, or the plant now offers, these massive organizations opportunities to fix some of the problems that are coming up and that are really they're under the microscope by our younger generations.
Yeah.
They care that this is who this is affecting and sad to say, but our generations are, I mean, we're on the other side of it, right? We've got to fix it for our younger families and our younger generations.
Yeah. I totally agree.
I love it.
It's also like the way that you wrote in the notes also that there's so much to take into consideration though, because we are working with the bioplant. Like this is something that I have to like really emphasize when I meet with potential clients and stuff. They're like, they want a product, they want to standardize, they want to know all the facts. And then I'm trying to explain, at least for us here in Sweden, we are like very behind. If you compare to other countries in Europe, Sweden is behind because we have been so stigmatized. We have been so afraid of cannabis, like the word cannabis. That's like, oh, it's a drug, you're gonna die, it's heroin and all this. So that has really stopped the conversation from being on the level where it needs to be, because this is, as you say, this is a plant that can help transform ecology, environment, social equity, cultural aspects of our planet, and it can also create job opportunities. So I think that one need to understand that we're working with the bioplant, so we can't promise that whatever you have in Utah is going to be the same as in Sweden. So it's like and we are so behind innovation wise and the technical wise, and if we look at, for example, the textile and fashion industry, then hemp is 1.15%. So it's like ridiculously low, and we just need to collaborate and work with the circular economy and really look at like what's needed here and now. How can we do this on a large scale? And
what's your opinion of what we need right now?
What we need,
the cultivation facilities. I know I heard you say that, and I've been pretty taken back by the difference. I mean, you hear decortication facility and it's, oh, we're going to decorticate, we're going to take apart this plant and get it ready for processing. But what we're getting out of each different facility is night and day difference, right? Or the type of fiber that's being produced. So what do you see as a solution, knowing the opportunity and knowing the opportunity for jobs?
Okay, so first of all, I see that what would be needed is a global hemp association like yours, and where people would kind of meet in a consortium like, I mean, the difficulty here is to be able to share without being afraid of losing revenue or losing profit, and to actually, like, how do you do that without being an elephant or a unicorn, or like to be like taking over the industries? How can you support small scaling farming? It's difficult because there are some partners that sit on an enormous amount of knowledge, and I think that these people that have different kind of knowledge needs to come together, so that we can have like, and that is one thing that is like great in regards to COVID and Corona, with all due respect to all the lives that have been lost and the horrible situation that we're living in. But if we could come together, you know, and then create like satellites in different countries, because we know that it needs to be national or regional, because the decortication and the harvesting and the retting and all this has to happen within quite a closed circular economy. So there is room for a lot of business. It's not just one. And I think that is like the key here, is to break the code. Like how can we do this? And for many different people to be able to make money. And I think what's great is what's happening in the States with all the different grants, like that's so amazing.
I know.
We have 0 grants like towards hemp, and it's really sad. Like it's really, really sad to see that the Swedish investors and the Swedish state and governmental grants and research grants, it's not yet where the states are. That is actually like it's earmarked grants, like the new one with the USDA and the one, the 10 million grant application for food. I'm like, if we could have that, like it would be so, I mean, that would be so amazing. And I see it as there really needs to be a public, private and non-profit partnerships going on here, because we need the state, because we can provide so much material that the state needs,
right,
just like back in the days. But we also need the private industry because that's where the innovation and the startups are. And then, of course, the academy, the universities, all the research that we are like 100 years behind. We don't know what seeds should we grow in the States. You don't even have a seed bank. We don't have a seed bank in Sweden either. We have to buy from somewhere else. So it's
well, and I want to speak real quick to what you just said, because I interviewed somebody last week that said the same thing. He said it's almost a joke. He said, we're still trying to figure out what seeds grow in what state or what climate. And other people are like, you guys, we've got that figured out. We already know exactly where to go, what to get, what the quality is, what the grade is. And so it's definitely been detrimental to us as a country not being able to research over the last 6 years, right? I mean, you guys too, just not being able to have our hands on it and know simple things like which seed to grow, right? And as businesses go, businesses that aren't looking into hemp are missing the boat. They're missing the opportunity. I mean, this is an opportunity zone. It's like the last time oil and gas came around, right? What happened to those that were able to be at the front of the industry, and look how much it changed and moved our world along, right? And so I, along the same lines, is it really isn't competition. It's how do you incorporate and bring it into the business?
Like I'm actually a little bit surprised that I have not been contacted by any gas or diesel or any kind of those kind of companies. And I think that's so strange, because I thought that they were like at the forefront of research, because they like, I mean, oil and the whole plastic industry and all the different materials, like, and as you said yourself, you just have to change from the oil to the hemp. So,
I'm actually, it's funny. And when I talk about this, the tax breaks that our big oil and gas companies have had since 2014 to do the research is just that. I have a question, I guess, too. I hear often there's a lot of big companies that are researching hemp or that are supporting it, but it's behind closed doors. This stigma that's up still, that they don't want people to know, right? How do we, you and I and our association or groups, collectively bridge that gap? Because I think it is going to take these big organizations like Lego and like Patagonia to, more to come in these other industries, BMW, to say, hey, we're going to back the Global Hemp Association and the education that has to happen. How do we bridge that? What do you think?
I think, first of all, it's communication. It's really like simple. I mean, Patagonia, they have great pedagogic information. They have great videos on YouTube about hemp. So, I mean, they know everything themselves already. So I think that one maybe just have to have a personal reference and to invite them to a meeting to, have like a really specialized meeting, and to have like, okay, these countries are going to come to this meeting, and the ones that come to the meeting are also you know, for example, if you would come to the table and I will come to the table, and then we have like all these different networks so that we can present for Lego, for example, and okay, we could grow this much in our country, we need this money to set up the industry and so forth, because for them, the impact and the sustainability report and the Agenda 20 report that we can then contribute for their project, and we perhaps have like skilled communication strategies that can show this very, very simple, that when you buy this box of Lego, you are also contributing to absorbing this and this much CO2.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's it. And for them to really understand, and that there is an organized global network. Because maybe the large industries, I'm not sure if it's the same still in the States, because like my feed is like the States, you are so like everybody's on it, and the same in Canada and Australia and so on. But for example, for me here in Sweden, I think that a lot of big organizations, they still think that people who work with hemp, they are hippies. They walk around in clothes like that are made like this,
with their hair dreads.
Exactly. And yeah, I don't know, like there is a stigma. So I think that we need to keep doing what we're doing, which is to show that we're professional, that we're relevant. And like you, for example, said, you're coming from another industry, but now you're in this industry and you're just like implementing your skills. And I think that is also like, I think that one needs to really work on the to show like we can put these many people into work, which will then give also tax revenues for the states where people are going to be employed, not only farmers, but also in the factories. And it's like simple jobs. You don't have to...
down to the trucking, transportation. Yeah. You know, our supply chain, we feed jobs by opening new industry verticals that are, it's mind-blowing to me. You know, and like I said, I didn't know how passionate I would be about supply chain or labor laws until I see hemp as a true fix for these. It's a real
yeah.
solution.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I think that you had also Sarah Williams on your last meeting.
I did.
And she had this, she was pitching at Global Hemp Day. I'm not sure if it was the same Sarah Williams, but she was pitching, I don't remember what it was called, but it was about the supply chain and how it could be like
for health.
It was for the hemp, like the supply chain and for all the different stages, and to make it simple. And I think that those kind of things are very, very important to bring into the hemp industry. And I think that I mean, I would love to hear her presentation again. And I think that there is like, for example, within the textile industry, there are plenty of those kind of jobs. So it's like all the information is already out there. It's just that
we need to aggregate it. There needs to be a platform where people can search it, a go-to place to have questions or access to experts, right?
Yeah.
And discussions to say, hey, this is what I'm running up against, and we have a lobbying concern that we need to address, or we have a supply chain concern, or, you know, one thing too that I think really needs to be addressed is PACA. You know, being able to get support that is in every other agricultural aspect except for hemp.
Yeah, what is that? I'm not sure if I understand correctly.
It's the insurance or the backing that gives support to farmers.
Yeah.
So that, say you grow a crop of wheat, and I handshake a contract with you that I'm going to buy all of your wheat if it meets this quality or this grade, right?
Yeah.
Well, if I back out of that contract, you as the farmer have the ability to pierce my corporate veil and come after me for that contract. It it excludes hemp and cannabis, or cannabis,
Okay.
hemp and marijuana.
Okay. In the States.
In the States. So being able to include that now gives some security to our farmers and kind of eliminates what I see as this black market hole where people are, I mean, and I get it on the sense that if I shake your hand and I agree to buy, say, at $1,000 a pound, and the market falls out of the bottom, and by the time we harvest, it's worth $100 a pound, that's hard, right? However, there has to be, in any other business world, that's a normal business practice.
Yeah.
Cannabis is just not, right?
Okay. Yeah, I don't think we have those kind of, I think we have, that we don't have that problem, but I think that's because it's only legal to grow industrial hemp.
Okay.
It's EU certified industrial hemp, and then you have to inform the agricultural department, and there is a list like these seeds are allowed to grow in Sweden, and then you have to inform and you have to show that you have bought these seeds, and then you have to show that you have land, and you have to show that.
So it's hard to get into.
It's kind of hard unless if you don't have land. I mean, if you don't have agricultural land, and if you don't know a farmer, it's very difficult because you have to buy land, and it has to be agricultural land. But it's not that difficult, though. I don't think it's that difficult. But it's, for me, what is difficult is that we don't have a decorticator, and that it's difficult to get the investment, and it's very difficult to get the information, like. Because in the EU, when I've been meeting with the decorticators in the EU, it's very difficult to get the information because it's like competition, but it really isn't any competition, because I cannot, I can maybe compete with that Sweden is importing a lot of hemp. But if we could set up some kind of joint venture or strategic partnerships, then they wouldn't lose out. Like I think more like it would be nice if it could spread
we need them. You know, there has to be a facility within 100 or 200 miles of where the crop is grown. And so we're talking hundreds of facilities across just the United States, let alone Sweden and everywhere else. And so, you know, I think that's often forgotten, and everybody wants to be the first and the best. And I mean, look at all the people that went into extracting CBD and they were the first, and now they're last, you know? And so I think, that's again, that business practice, that sitting next to somebody doing the same thing as you is really beneficial to know what works and what doesn't, and what are you struggling with, and what are your strengths and my strengths. And
so for me, I would like to see like a lot of more machines out there with like clear info, like what is the fraction I get out? What is the input I need to put in the machine? What is the outflow? What is the percentage between, like, how much herd do I get? How much fiber do I get? How much dust do I get? And what is the cost like? But it's so difficult. Nobody's like giving clear answers at the moment. And I'm a very like impatient person. I would like to see some action.
Me too.
Oh yeah, but for now I've been starting also to import, but to be able to get somewhere in the process to be able to show proof of concept.
What about standards and stuff? I know in the States we struggle with certifying hempcrete and different types of product. I have a number of members that have patents on, say, roofing tiles or wallboard or structural concrete, but certifying it has been a challenge. Where do you see solutions there so that we can build in multiple countries?
Yeah, well, I see, the way we do in Sweden is that we look very much at France. And France, since they've been doing this for like, it has never been illegal. So they have a contract. They have a third party contract, which is like the non-profit department of hemp within the building industry. And then, so they have like different kind of lime companies. And then the lime is certified for the building industry. And then the lime companies, they are the one putting up like the regulations, the framework. And they say, okay, to be allowed to be mixed with our hemp, with our lime, your hemp, it has to be like this and this. So then they have like farmers network, and all the farmers have to sign a contract that, okay, we're gonna cultivate these seeds, we're gonna grow it like this, and we're gonna harvest it like this. And then it goes into the decortication facility that is certified to be used in the lime that is on the market. So that's what we're looking into now in Sweden. We use the French lime. We don't have Swedish certified lime. And then now what we're trying to do is to then set up a decorticator that will the way the lime companies want it.
That's cool. I didn't think that it would run backwards. I feel like that's backwards. I expected the certification to come from someone else and then the hemp company tell the lime company what they need, but it's actually the other way around.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I just learned a huge piece of knowledge. Because I think this piece is a challenge. You know, I get asked all the time, well, how come if hemp is so beneficial, why aren't we using it? Why isn't it?
But well, the reason why you don't use it, it's because it's been only legal to grow for 2 years in the States. But I'm actually working with an American company now, and we are gonna be doing building courses. We're looking into making building courses, and then when we do the building courses, we also will certify the builders. So the builders get certified to build with hemp-lime, and then we only use certified materials. And the certified materials is then the lime and the hemp, the way it is from France. And then that goes under the national, like the ISU standards and the national global building standards. So we can start from there and then to collaborate with universities and college so that we can start to set up like curriculum with building courses.
Yes. Okay, so I've got a lot of people I want to wrap you in on conversation. This is, again, so on the association, what we did is we have a monthly meeting that anyone can come to that's more like a networking opportunity. And then we have committee meetings, and I've branched off, like you said, the construction committee is probably, and the textile committee are where I get the most interest. And then standards and certification, we've really started to dive into for fiber length and tensile strength and diameter, things like that, but haven't done a lot on construction, and where, yeah, I would love to make some intros because I think it's crazy valuable.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would love to do that. And we are actually, I mean, it's difficult to plan anything in the Corona, but we hope that we can come like August, September, maybe to the States to be able to do like maybe be there for 1 month.
Yeah.
Because then we can do building courses at maybe 4 different places, and then we can have the practical course with then 4 different organizations, and maybe those 4 different organizations would be interested in doing a joint venture with the French National Hemp Building School. They are certified by the French state to teach. I think it's very important because you have been suffering very recently from the fires, and this is fire resistant. I mean, we have been doing tests with 1,000 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in the States, but 20 degrees, 25 degrees is like a nice summer breeze day. So 1,000 degrees is very much.
Wow.
For 4 hours, and there is only like a little
patch of
huh? Yeah, and you can still put your hand on one side, and the fire was still on, like on that side. So
yeah, it's instant power.
Yeah, So that would be really, really great.
What about, can you give me real quick some, like, why should people be paying attention to hemp for building products? Besides the fire that you just shared, I mean, can you rattle off some of these in comparison to wood or compared to steel or whatever you think? And maybe not compared to, but like the R factor, like that, the insulative factor is my one.
It's fire resistant. It holds 5 times its own weight in liquid, so it's moist resistant. It doesn't create like the cold bridges because you spray it in one solid frame. It's very easy to build, and since you work with organic materials, it's a toxic-free work environment for the actual building workers. So that is an important work environment issue. And the other thing is that the hemp lime is 30% lighter than other conventional materials, which is, and then that is also a great thing for the work sector, that it's toxic free and it's 30% lighter. And then when you build with it, it's fire resistant and the mold, and then also that termites and the rats and mouse, they hate it. So they will not come into the house. So yeah, I think, I mean, it has higher lambda value than most conventional materials. And the fact that you can spray it into a template and you can plaster it on the outside and you can plaster it on the inside. It means that you don't have layers.
Yeah.
And then within the reason why you work with lime and hemp is because when there comes a chemical reaction between the chives and the hemp, and it mustn't be any fibers, so it's the chives and the hemp, and then there becomes like a chemical reaction which makes it holes, and those holes will then create a better insulation and the thermal conductivity because of those voids. So anybody like working with construction knows that that is good to have, because it will be that air is flowing constantly like this in and out. And also it's good for like erosion if it's raining, and it can stand for at least 100 years. So the life cycle analysis, it's great. And what else? Like it's 100% renewable. So when if you would then live another 100 years and it's starting to fall apart, you can either just let it become part of the soil, or you can reuse it and build with it again.
Okay.
And you, as it is a breeding material, it's working a little bit like when you have green vegetation, green roofs, green walls. So it's first of all, you have absorbed 20 tons of CO2 per hectare when you grow.
Say that again. How much?
20 tons per hectare. So it's like the Amazon.
Yeah.
And then when this house stands, it attracts the carbon dioxide, it stores the carbon, and it breathes out the oxygen again. So it's a constant carbon storage and carbon sequester. So if we would build like, let's say that California, the fire, let's say that we would clean the damaged earth where the fires have been. We can clean that with hemp because it's good for cleaning. And then if we would rebuild all those houses with hemp lime, we would create like a carbon sequestering area.
Yeah.
And that would be like an ongoing project.
Okay, so I've got a question. I've got to shut the door so that I can hear. What about, I have people ask all the time, as I explain that the like plastic bottle, when there's hemp plastic in it, it absorbs the CO2. At some point, does it become, what word am I looking for? Like, at what point does the hempcrete no longer sequester carbon or absorb it continually does. It never stops. Okay. How? I don't understand. I don't understand how, if it's absorbing the carbon, what happens to that carbon inside that block?
It gets stored.
Okay.
So it's stored within the material. However, to be able to answer like seriously and detailed on that, you would need research.
Sure.
So that is another reason to make those kind of building courses or building projects. Like, let's say, for example, that we would come and we would make 4 different building courses in the States and with 4 different universities. Those 4 universities would then have 4 standing test lab where they can have ongoing data.
Yeah.
So the house in itself, you put electrodes within the building so that you can collect data, such as, for example, your question.
Okay, so what we've been talking about doing is the association is a design contest. I really want, this year, are you familiar with Burning Man or any of these big, global arts events? And they're canceled this year. And people are hungry for an opportunity to create and be creative. Wouldn't it be cool if we do a design contest and people can, even if all it is a huge block of hempcrete sitting in the middle of Times Square where people can touch it, look at it, and then we can run tests that are visible while you're there at how much CO2 it's sequestering, on how much oxygen it's letting out, on what the insulative value is, right? And being able to do fire tests where people see it, or a concrete revitalization or sidewalk revitalization project where we go into these rural areas and we put hempcrete down for their sidewalks and then show them. But I think what it would do ultimately is you get kids talking.
Yeah.
You get moms that are scared of it that walk by and run their hand on it, or they sit and watch what it's doing because now the carbon is a concern. Our air quality in Utah is horrible.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think it's very beautiful, and I've done many events like that, like in festivals, like building with kids, over 300 kids.
Okay.
We were building a replica of 9 towers for Jean. I can send you pictures if you want.
Yeah.
An American architect and minimalist. He's called what's this called again now? Sol Lewitt.
Uh-huh.
He's a very famous American architecture and minimalist and mathematic.
Okay.
He's used a lot of mathematic teachers use him to inspire their students because he was great with geometry and he made like amazing pieces of art.
Yeah.
So I work with art, and then I work with a place called Kivik Art Centre, and it's like a world famous art park out in the And it's so cool. We could actually redo that whole project in the States, but you would have to talk to the Sol Lewitt estate, because you must do any Sol Lewitt work without contacting the estate.
Of course.
Anyway, this particular monument that we have built at this place where I also work when I work with kids and art and architecture and engineering. It looks like one of the Minecraft.
Oh, yeah.
So everything is 5 by 5 by 5.
Okay.
And even when the kids are coming, like he built this before the Minecraft. But when the kids are coming, they're like, oh my God, it's Minecraft. And it's standing out in the fields and it looks like Alien or something.
Yeah.
And I came up with this crazy idea that, let's do it in a replica with the kids so that they can learn that a plant, a flower can also build a house, and that we are part of nature, and we can make it all like the circular, and you show them that it's a seed. It's growing, it becomes like the whole supply chain, but it becomes like very pedagogic and doesn't have to be so boring with all these different blocks on a PowerPoint, but to actually show them and to actually stand and work with them. And they're all muddy with the hemp-lime. and we're building together and to draw together, like, and to actually, like, how do you build a house? Like, how do you build something? What do you do? What's the first step?
The steps. Yeah.
So that's a great idea. Maybe something for MoMA to.
I love it. I love it. Well, and I've got another gentleman that's really great. He's got 20 plus years of industrial training. And so this was his passion. It's just, I feel like I'm eating an elephant with a baby spoon. There's a lot to take on. And so partnering with people like you are exactly where I want to be, right? I want to work with people that are doing it right and kind of use our platform to grow your business and grow the industry. And yeah, so I'd love to have you on. I'd love to further discuss that. Can you, what about cost for building? You know, this is the ugly question that always comes up. You know, is it cost competitive right now compared to other building methods? And what do you see in the future?
Well, somebody said to me that the current material in the state was like $1 per, it was so low. I couldn't really understand it. I'm gonna have a new meeting with them because I was like, okay, well, we might not be able to match that amount because you're so much bigger country, so you have so much larger industries. So I think that it's not really a fair question, like, with all due respect, I don't mean like,
no,
like, but for people who ask that, and that's the first thing that people ask, of course. So, and you can't say to them that's an irrelevant question to ask.
Especially when I'm the one asking them for money. Well, how much? I don't know yet. Don't ask.
No, but it's of course a little bit more, since it's about supply and demand. Like, for example, in Sweden, we only grow 150 hectares, so we don't even have a decortication machine, so we can't sell Swedish hemp.
Right.
So we have to import. So that's gonna already there. And then the lime is a little bit expensive. It is, but then I think that it's important. That's why I think it's so important to it has to be a scaled up industry, because the one who pays, okay, if it's a private family and with wealthy families, and we have been getting a lot of questions from families that have like allergic children, they can't live in a toxic environment, like, since this is allergen free. It's antiseptic and antibacterial, so that is for real. It's not just something that we in the hemp world say. Right. So it will become an allergen-free house. So those, then maybe some private clients, they will pay for that. They will pay for not living in a toxic house. But if we look at the overall mass, they don't have money. So it has to be larger industries, so that it becomes like, okay, we need like 100,000 tons of lime and hemp, so that the industry can scale up. Sure. So it's a very much the hen and the egg.
Well, and it's going to take this large capital investment with long-term return. This isn't I get asked almost every day by investors to put money in, but what they want is a quick in, quick out. You know, it really takes the social impact investors to say, I'm going to put this in, and I know my $100 million long term is going to buy sustainable housing for our tribes, right? That, you know, look at these homes. I used to live on a reservation for a while. Ironically, I kind of just got placed there. And the quality of their living conditions is humbling. And it's not at the fault completely theirs, right? But our tribal people are given a home to live in on their grounds. But the home they're given is a mobile home that's a piece of crap. It falls apart fast, bad winds pick up, you have a bad winter, your roof falls off. The long-term effects of hemp are catastrophically different compared to this lack of sustainability that we've created in the disposable opportunities. You know, this fast fashion and I went to go buy a camp trailer also when COVID happened, I'm sure with everybody else that did. and the quality of them is they're so poorly made anymore, you know, compared to, so when I talk cost, that upfront cost and how to sell it to the investors is a little tricky, because it's the upfront expense for the long-term gain. And it's not the gain of the immediate finance. It's that we can provide true sustainable housing for people. We can provide affordable, sustainable housing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that, I think that one probably have to team up with investors that have enough money to invest in like a 7-year generation. They can't get their money back the 3 to 5 first years, because again, it's a bio product, it's a plant that we're working with. So, and in the States and in Sweden, for example, as we talked about, we don't know, like, okay, maybe we're going to grow this seed here and that's going to work. And in certain places in the States, you're going to know quicker, but I think that it's going to take 5 years before we are where we want to be, where we know that we can be. But it needs investors that have that time to put in their money in the long term. So I think that the first like Collective Growth, for example, and Jeff Whaling and Bruce Linton with their investment capacity, they are people who knows hemp. So they can maybe also know that, okay, we're going to have to wait. We're going to have to work all the time with the politicians as well, and with the non-profit industry and the private sector. So yeah.
It's coming though. There's big money coming into the States. There's big money moving around in the world, because they see it as an opportunity, right? And I'm not surprised that it's not here yet, right? We saw this when it very first became legal. You get a lot of people that jump in right away, and then you wait for those to make the mistakes before other people jump in. Or I like to think that that's kind of where a lot of it's at. But how can I support you, or how can we support you initially? And what can I do to bring you in more? I would love to make lots of introductions and kind of give you an opportunity to share your experience and what your goals are with our group.
Wow, that's so amazing. I'm so grateful and very thankful for your generosity. I would love to come to the next meeting and actually show up to see the association. But then I think for me right now, it's about the decorticators very much. Like, if I'm going to be like totally egoistic, and what we need here in Sweden, it is trustable, transparent, professional, strategic partnerships, and maybe investment. I don't know like how it looks with the investment American to Sweden and so on, but the machinery is really what we need, the decorticators. And there's plenty of good people in the States that know how to do with this. And it would be so nice if it would be able to, like, if one would be able to actually talk to a machine, like really skillful machine people, so that you don't have to start in the same volumes. Like all the machines are like, America, we tons per year. And it's like, no, it's like, I don't want to say never, but I have to look at it from the Swedish perspective. And that is, we are a long country. We don't grow much, but we have a demand. So we will have an industry. So I would like to really meet with those kind of people.
I have a few in mind that I talked to that will be open and honest. And one actually works real close with our construction committee, and I'll make an intro to you, because I think he's the gentleman I was telling you about that has the roofing tiles and wallboard.
Okay, yeah. So that is really like what I'm interested in. And then now I'm also like,
and I don't know if you knew this, but roofing tiles are the #1 insurance claim globally.
The roofing
roofing, yeah. So we have to think like hurricanes, rain, hail, anything like that destroys the roofing tile. These guys have created one that you can basically hit with a hammer and it doesn't break, and it's out of hemp for pennies on the dollar compared to a shingle. And so I think he'd be a great fit for you, a great partner or collaboration. And then he actually is an attorney that is an in-house attorney for a machine shop that builds hemp equipment. So I'll connect you, and
that sounds great.
That conversation. But actually, like you said, try to get real information instead of people just puffing their chest.
Yeah, because I've been in some meetings and I've met with some great people and so on, but I need to be able to speed on. And then I've actually I have a product that I'm gonna be working on now. So
I'm all about the sales. Like that's my passion, is the sales and the connection and the distribution. So I'd love to help you there.
Ready on this particular product, then I'm so excited to be able to share it with the world and the places. And then I would love to do something like what you said, the building course and design competition and so on. I would love to work as a subcontractor to consult on the construction side. And I love also, the thing that you said about you were talking about yourself, like a connector and loving to arrange events and stuff like that. That's exactly what I've been doing. Also before, I was the director of the Institute for Sustainable Urban Development, but we were creating a lot of knowledge production, like research in a popular way. So I think, I'd be happy to do more like these. But I would love to work within the construction industry in the States and come in, and to also bring in my network with the French people that could benefit the industry to move on faster, because they have certified materials. So that's a start. I think that's a great start. And also to be able to sell, to set up meetings, maybe you have a construction industry and they're like, okay, but we want to buy machines from France, like the spray machines, so that you can spray up. Yeah, but then maybe we can set up a meeting where we introduce supplier of machines and so on.
Absolutely, we can. Yeah. So the way that I've been structuring our meetings, and they've kind of changed, trying to find what works for people. Sometimes we'll have a whole bunch of new people on, and sometimes it's all people that have been there before. So when that happens, it kind of changes just because there are so many new. But what I found really successful is we'll do an intro, and I'll usually have one or two people kind of explain who they are, what they're doing, or projects they're working on. And then I break into small groups where we get 4 or 5 people, and I give 10 or 15 minutes to actually have conversation. And those have proven to be really successful, because the next time they've been able to accomplish something or meet offline. And then I send out the meeting minutes and notes. So you have contacts and kind of detail as who was there, what we talked about, and things like that. So on the construction one, I already have a few people I'd love to connect you with and kind of collaborate and say, hey, where do we want to take this, or where do you fit? If you're open to it, I'd love to maybe schedule something and
I would love to do that.
Some of my the players that have really been supportive of me and that I see doing things right.
Yeah.
Those that they get the concept of networking and relationship building. They're not holding it as close to their chest. Yeah.
That's great. And then another thing, we have a hemp seminar in Sweden on the 5th of May, 2021. So maybe we could discuss eventual collaboration. Yes, because I'm thinking, what can I do for you?
Yeah.
And you could come there and present what you do.
I would love to. Yes, absolutely. Well, let's, real quick, can you share, how do people get in touch with you if they want to reach out?
I think LinkedIn is the best way, or Instagram and Facebook. I have LinkedIn is my private or whatever you want to call it, like Clara Norell. And then Instagram and Facebook is Swedish Hemp Industries.
Okay, perfect. I'll share those in our notes when we get them typed up also. Other than that, I'll send you a link and a copy to this when we're done. And I really appreciate you joining today. I'm so excited. I feel blessed that you came on, and I'm very lucky to be connected with you.
I'm looking forward to the 19th of January, I think. Yes.
You got it. Yes.
And then I'm also gonna see if before that we can just have exchange some emails between me and my partner in the conference, the 5th of, because it would be great to have you, maybe your logo, and we can collaborate somehow and spread the.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the meantime, I think that we'll have a construction committee meeting before the 19th. I'll send you the invite for sure. But if for some reason you ever feel like you can't come, don't feel bad. I'm very casual. I'm very much about relationship, and I'll hound you if I need you. You know.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, if you can't come, don't worry.
That's fine. I'm so sorry for last time. I didn't. Like when you send me the message, I'm like, oh my God.
You're so good. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy your Monday, and we'll be in touch.
Yeah, I'm writing my report. I'm having a deadline to the Swedish Agricultural University holding company. So I'm doing a task for them on fiber decortication and the business model for Sweden.
Very good.
Deadline tomorrow.
Impressive.
So this is just my break in between.
Well, you enjoy. Holler at me if you need anything in the meantime, and good luck to you, okay?
Yeah, you too. Take care. It was a pleasure speaking to you. And it was a pleasure to speak to you.
Absolutely. I feel privileged. Take care. See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.